I'm going to go ahead and call our August 29th, 2024 Sherwood City Council regular meeting into order. We all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Into order. Into order. Come right in. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All right. Thank you. Sylvia, roll call.
Mayor Rosner?
Here.
Council President Young? Here. Councilor Brous? Here. Councilor Mays?
Here.
Councilor Scott?
Here.
Councilor Giles?
Here.
Councilor Stankey?
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sylvia. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Council. On the consent agenda tonight, we have three items. Item A is approval of the August 6, 2024 City Council meeting minutes. Item B is Resolution 2024-062, appointing Cliff Taylor to the Sherwood Senior Advisory Board. Item C is Resolution 2024-063, authorizing the city manager to sign a lease agreement with HF and Sons LLC to operate Sesame Donuts.
I move consent.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you again, Council. Citizen comments. Sylvia, do we have anybody tonight? And Brad, do we have anyone online? All right. We will move right on to presentation. We have one presentation tonight. We have our annual auditor's update. David. Thank you, David.
Yeah, no. Thank you, Mayor, City Council. So with me, I have Dan Miley. He's the partner in charge of the city's audit engagement with TKW. So he's here to kind of talk about the results of the audit. I know I kind of sent you a summation about a week or 2 weeks ago of kind of the results of the audit, but he's here to answer any questions and kind of give a little bit of a summary. So I'll turn it over to Dan.
Welcome, Dan.
Thank you. Good evening. I am Dan Miley with Talbot Covell and Warwick, the city's independent auditor. So we just like to make sure that people know that we are independent of the city, and that's one of the things that's important to us, and that's in some of the communications about the roles that we play. I'm going to keep things at a very high level, as David said. If there's any questions, please ask. The good news, the audit was completed in April with an unmodified opinion, so a clean opinion. So your financial statements are materially correct. So that's always a good sign. We audited in accordance with both generally accepted auditing standards and governmental auditing standards because of that single audit component that the city was required to have with expending more than $750,000 of federal money. The city implemented one new accounting standard for subscription-based IT arrangements. This was shorthand GASB 97, so each statement has a number, so the standard setting is now up to 97. That's been implemented with a number more that I'll get into in a little bit. This was accounted for similar to leases, where you have an asset, right to use, with offset with a liability that then will get worked down as payments are made, and then over time it'll be amortized out. Similar to analogy would be also capital assets and a debt payment would be sort of similar to both of those. This didn't have any significant impacts to the URA since the city provides most of the services through the city to the URAs. Another, and this was an unusual thing, of you had the old URA has ceased operations, so you noticed in the financial statements there, zeros, so the balance sheet was easy to audit for that one. Still had some income statement and still some cleanup to do of just working all that, the last of those balances off the books. Oregon minimum standards, this is something as a municipal auditor that we're required to look at. So we did find a couple of what we call local budget law violations. Mostly had to do with some over expenditures. So if you appropriate some money, the city spent more than that. So we have to note those, even if it's over $1. So these weren't necessarily huge amounts, but they were large enough that we had to report them. And then also some differences in notices, depending on the type of budget amendment, requires different notices, and so the notices were for one type of budget amendment, and it should have been another one. So, and we talked about these over with finance, and I don't expect it to happen again on those.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Just a little bit about the single audit. So the city actually expended in the year ending June 30, 2023, $4.5 million. We had one major program which accounted for $4.4 million. So the overwhelming majority of it. And that was completed with no findings. So that was good news. Again, coming up, there's a few new accounting standards just to make you aware of. For fiscal year 24, there's a new standard for accounting changes and error corrections. So that's just bringing some consistency among different governments on how to report those. In fiscal year 25, there's two new standards. One involves compensated absences, so vacation time, sick time, how to account for that. Once again, bringing consistency across governments on how they account for leaves that were not contemplated when the original standard was put into place, like unlimited PTO and things like that. And the second one was some risk disclosures. These would be similar to for-profit companies. If you're in fiscal distress, there's now some requirements around what to disclose and how to disclose that. And then looking one more year out, there is a new standard for the financial reporting model. And so these will be changes to like MD&A, presentation on your proprietary funds, so your enterprise, so your water fund, your sewer fund, those types of funds. And then some consistency also with how to present budget to actuals. You used to, before this standard, and currently I guess, you could report that as an actual statement within the city's financial statements instead of in the back as supplementary information. And now this says, well, it's always going to be supplementary information. So that's what's coming up. And then we've already started some work with David on the 2024 audit and getting some of the preliminary steps in place so we can hit the ground running when that comes up next month.
Yep, next month.
Great. Well, thank you for the update. Any questions from council?
This is probably for David. Do you feel like you have the resources and support to understand the changes and make the necessary changes? I know we were looking at new software or different things. Do you feel like you have the tools needed to address these changes?
Yeah, there's classes that we attend, whether they're through GFOA, that we get educated on these new standards, and TKW is a great resource too. We pick their brain quite a bit, and then there's other resources out there, maybe early implementers from other districts that may have implemented these standards maybe earlier, and so we kind of take a look and talk to their staff. So yeah, there are resources out there, and the finance community, we all talk to each other, and we all pick each other's brains. So yes.
Right. All right, thanks.
And most of the I would say leaders in terms of financial software, they're ahead of this stuff too. They know it's coming. They make sure it's supported in the systems. I did have a question on the GASB 97. You mentioned that was for accounting for software SaaS fees.
Essentially, yeah.
And could you explain that again? Because you were talking about like capitalizing.
Yeah. So before SaaSes became popular, if you bought a piece of software, you would capitalize that, similar to any other capital asset. And I'm inferring some stuff here, so just put that there. So the Governmental Accounting Standards Board looked at that and said, well, that's sort of similar to leases, from what my understanding is, and leases are and you have a contract to use a capital asset. Well, this is a contract to use a piece of software. So essentially they're saying, well, you have a right to use that. The alternative would be go buy software, if you can find a software provider that will actually sell you software anymore, and then capitalize that. So the accounting and the finance piece of it should be treated accordingly. And so just because you call it a lease or you call it a subscription, contract or a SaaS, the accounting for a thing should be the same, or at least similar.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Yeah, so it's like accruals in the private sector. You're paying for it when you use it.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
And in the private sector, they had something where you record leases now as well on the books. They don't have this for IT. Hopefully not that FASB keeps their hands out of this, because as David can attest, there was a lot of work that went into looking at every single one of your IT subscriptions, and did this apply? Did it not apply? If it did apply, how to go through all the calculations, which are not simple.
So that was one thing that brought to my attention in the 152-page document was there's pages of every subscription that we have as far as software stuff. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that before in our audit report. So,
We've been asking.
but here it is now.
Yeah, and so the first year of any standard, you're sort of trying to make sure that you meet all the standards, and so I think there's definitely an abundance of disclosure there, and that might be something that we look at. Is like, okay, now that a standard's been out for a year, do we need to list out everything individually? Do we do that? And that's something that David and I have had a conversation.
That was a lot of work.
And a few things that we're kind of working on. I know Sebastian's working on kind of something that you've requested, kind of a contract database, subscription database, because, obtaining all these various subscriptions that are not housed in one area was a little challenging. But also what we're going to do is we're going to apply a materiality threshold to whether we record this subscription or not. So those balances, and some of those might be adjusted, but last year was like, okay, let's just get everything out there. Now we're going to start looking at applying some kind of materiality threshold.
But this is the start of that catalog that we've been asking for years of, and it's all in one place, and then you have a check mark, material or not, type thing. And anyways.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
There's a lot more out there than what I thought, that I think anybody thought.
Yeah.
There always is.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in tonight.
Thank you.
All right. It's an easy night. Moving on to item 8, City Manager Report.
5 pages of subscriptions.
Just a couple things. This Friday is our last Movies in the Park. I think it's Barbie. All right.
Barbie.
Yeah.
Is it Barbie?
Starts at dusk.
Craig will be there.
No.
Keith, you already have your
And then,
towel and chief or chair down there, don't you?
You already
And
got
his pink tutu or something, I think.
And then the YMCA is having a community barbecue on the 22nd of this month from 3 to 6:30 p.m. And then I'd like, Chief's going to talk to you a little bit about some police activity we had here in town yesterday.
You may or may not have seen the search warrant that was served that resulted in the recovery, or I guess the confiscation of a bunch of drugs. And I just wanted to highlight some of those. This was a BHO lab that was found in there. It's a butane hash oil, so that's where I call it cook it down, but to a liquid form. Extremely high levels of THC that come from this. And with that, they found LSD, ketamine, Xanax, psilocybin mushrooms, bunch of cash, and you probably saw the pictures of all the guns. So this was a great team effort. When Washington County Interagency Narcotics Team came out, the DEA, Tiger, 1210, Beaverton, I believe, was there as well. So great investigation, great teamwork. And unfortunately, as much as we like to keep them out of our city, they do pop up here and there. And so we were really happy to get on this and seize what we did. It's still pending. It's an ongoing investigation, so we're not releasing the rest of it, but as that comes out, we will. But I just want to give you an update on where that was and if you'd heard any of the activity that was going on with that or some of the cars that were around. And that's all I got.
Great. Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Craig. Any questions? But Craig, did you have more?
No, that's all I have. Any questions for myself or the staff that's here?
Yeah. I've noticed some paving going around the city, not including Tualatin Sherwood. Are there any additional projects that are happening before the school starts that you're aware of for the repaving of the roads?
So this,
Like we just did Sunset.
yeah, we
in front
just
of our
did
church.
Sunset. There'll probably be some cleanup work that's still going on out there. We're going to be doing a Sunday night paving project, Meineke Roundabout. We have to do it in the evenings because we have to close that down with Highway 99. And I don't have you got the exact date, Rich? 8th of September, but that'll be on a Sunday night going into Monday.
Okay.
Which side? There's two Meineke roundabouts.
So it's on this side, the high school side.
The old high school side?
The old high school. Middle school now, sorry about that. I still call it the high school,
I know, right?
so.
On social media, somebody posted about a Washington County project going on Elwert where the road's going to be closed, I think, early September for quite a long time, something about a new culvert or something.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of angst with Washington County about their planning, like, we just had 10 weeks off of school, why couldn't they do it? Now we have 3 schools feeding on that road, and, yeah. Do we know about that project, I
I think
assume?
they were trying to, in the response we got when we checked in with the county, they were trying to coordinate to have Roy Rogers done before they started on that project. But there was some delays, but they actually have to do in-water work, so that's why it's starting now, so they can finish stuff up, so.
Is what it is.
So 3 weeks, the road will be closed?
It's the 22nd of October, and I forget how long it goes.
August, you mean?
I'm sorry, it's 22nd of August to sometime, I thought it was in September, but
It was a long period.
September, or October.
And it's between Edie and,
It's Consulman. It's in the dip.
where they had restricted activity
Yeah.
last month.
Yeah.
So, follow-up question on that. So with that in mind, is the county looking at the current work on 12th and Sherwood to make sure they're not closing down lanes, doing one way, and keeping it as open as possible during that 3-week period?
We can follow up with the county, but they did say they were trying to get Roy Rogers paved before they did that out there when we checked in with them last time. But we can check.
Which is the,
Okay.
they're just doing the landscaping and other
Yeah.
stuff.
So, but we can follow up on that, Mayor. Rich
The
can.
update that the citizen posted from Washington County's website was from August 8th. It said, construction is scheduled to begin August 26th. Elwert will be closed from LeBeau to Edie through October 25th. So 2 months.
So it's the 25th of October. 2 months. And I thought on their sign it said the 22nd, so I don't know if they moved it up a couple days, but.
I want to put a positive spin on it. A lot of the people that may have.
Your mic's off. My hope is that a lot of the people that have been using Elwert as a bypass of 12th and Sherwood and 99 for a decade or more, now that are going to be forced to go to Roy Rogers, 12th and Sherwood, 99, and realize it actually flows really well, and maybe they'll just keep going that way after the road reopens.
Way to make it positive.
Nice positive.
It does flow
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah.
Hope and change.
Very good.
Awesome.
That is brilliant.
So Mayor, on your question about checking with Washington County, I'm going to be out for the next couple days, but Kristen can follow up with Rich and get you an answer on that.
That would be great, because that's going that direction. Those are your 2 options, so.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions for Craig? All right. We will go on to council announcements. And accidentally, yeah, I caused
Should
you
he
to.
just start with me because he forgot me last time?
Yeah, I'll start with Kim tonight. Go for it.
Actually, didn't really have anything. I was just going to say, what a great Chamber of Commerce had a breakfast on Friday. Their kickoff for the year at the high school, where they do one with the school district. Got to meet the new superintendent, Dr. Aaron Downs. Seems to be like a great fit for our community and our school district. So that was encouraging. It was a very well attended event between chamber members, Rotary, staff, school staff, district staff. So that was it was a great breakfast. That's all I have. I missed Police Advisory Board. I was taking a week off.
Awesome. Thanks, Kim. Keith.
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize for missing the last meeting. I was in Atlanta, Hotlanta. Yes, it was hot. Yes, it was humid, and I'm glad to be home. But I missed the opportunity of being at that meeting and expressing my opinion on the vote of a contract for new city manager. I know that it passed. I know it passed unanimously. I just make it public that I would have also enthusiastically voted in support of that contract. I congratulate Craig for now being under contract and in the job. Great to have you, and am hopeful that you will retire from the city as our city manager many years down the road. But whenever that time comes, yes, retire from Sherwood. I know, yeah, great to have you on board. In the time that since I've been here, I had the privilege of attending the Oregon Mayor's Conference. I'm a past president, so I get to go if I want to go every year. And this time I had the extra responsibility, opportunity, honor of standing in for Mayor Rosner when we got to recognize our youth mayor, if I were mayor, award recipient, statewide recipient, first statewide winner ever. Got to, for Sherwood, got to spend some time visiting with her and her family. Wonderful, wonderful young lady and family. And they were able to be there and were eagerly awaiting post-award luncheon to go to the pool and enjoy the pool in the hot, dry weather of Klamath Falls. And she is super eager to volunteer wherever she can. She's kind of young for our volunteers within the city, but certainly gave her talk with the school district and the schools, and she's very active in chess club, and thought, what a great opportunity. There's not enough young women, girls, in chess, and so she was going to try to recruit more girls to learn chess and be active. Anyways, so it was great. Also was able to go to the League of Oregon City annual or monthly, quarterly, whatever, board meeting in Joseph, Oregon, which was enjoyable, and got to see the interesting dynamic of the sprawling tourist economy in Eastern Oregon, trying to be in harmony with the very rural ranch and farming community. But they seem to have a pretty good grasp and lots of interesting approaches to things, which was neat. So I heard from county commissioners and city elected officials and so on. Interesting, we had our WACA 911 executive board meeting the other day, and I serve as the board president now for a little bit. Part of the struggles that you may or not be aware of is them getting staffing. Law enforcement across the region have had struggles. Sherwood has been blessed. We've done some things with great leadership and things to help with our staffing loads. WACA has continued to have challenges of being fully staffed, but in the last month it has really turned around. I do not know the full reason, but they have definitely amplified their social media presence. I'm not on social media, so I was unaware. draw attention to the organization, but there's also, as we know, been layoffs in the county, so potential that helped people to express interest because of Intel, Nike, or other large employers and small employers. Then lastly, was excited that Craig mentioned it in his update to council and our community members. Craig attended the Cultural Arts Board meeting last night, so we got to attend his first one as officially as our city manager, so that was great. And the Cultural Arts Board is super excited because they're starting the work to craft recommendations on the 3 art pieces that are part of the pedestrian bridge project. So more to come on that, and they're going to add extra meetings to focus energies on that. That's all I got.
Awesome, thank you. Doug, want to go next?
Sure, I don't really have a lot to report tonight, but I will remind everyone that it's that time of year again, and school is starting early, pre-Labor Day this year, so it will start, I believe, next week, right? Yeah, school starts next week. So be on the lookout in your school zones, keep your speed down, watch out for pedestrians, bikers, skateboarders, scooter riders, and people walking and whatnot on the way to school. So just be cognizant and aware out there that the schools will be active and full again next Monday.
And I'm sure law enforcement will make sure to remind them.
They will be there.
Thanks, Doug. Dan?
Planning Commission met last week, and they discussed the food cart pods. The commission approved that proposal, and we should be seeing it for public hearing on 9/17 for us, so next month. And yeah, it was good discussion about it. We had our 2 new commissioners, Commissioner Tillotson and Walmsley there. They were already involved with the discussion, had great questions for staff, and so I'm really looking forward to them being on the commission and continuing to contribute. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Dan. Renee?
I don't have anything.
Awesome.
Short and sweet.
Taylor,
Right.
your cleanup.
So I attended the Washington County Housing update that was held this morning. One of the things that was just clear, I'm excited for the work that they're doing. This is a problem that affordable housing is something that is going to take a lot of different types of housing to accommodate all the different types of needs. And so I was thrilled that they were addressing a segment of it. I think that in Sherwood, when when we talk about what our needs are here, and I look at what my personal needs are as I get older and want to age in place and, and different things, and I talk to my neighbors and things, one of the things that is clear is that we just need a variety. We've got to allow for different types of housing that fit our different stages of life and different needs. And so I'm committed to, and a call out to anyone who has been a part of projects to reach out to continue to talk about that. I know that a lot of counselors are also interested in that. The library did not meet. We did have a Fix-It fair yesterday that was well attended. We do have school starting, and then if you're looking to get your kid up early, and this is not that early, but 9 a.m. in the middle school, they have cross-country practice. So this whole next week, you can get them up, get them running, and it's a no-cut sport, and they'll know kids the first day of school. It's one of the best ways of, if your kid's nervous about middle school, get them out at 9 a.m. to go to the cross-country runs. They meet by the dugout. Again, even if you've never run, if you walk the entire time, they don't care. You will not get cut, I guarantee it. So get your kid out there.
So it sounds like you get to sleep in, actually.
I'm saying you're easing them into the school day by if you're like my kids, they're not up by 9. So right now so anyway, reach out and congrats. By the way, I saw the work the police did on social media. And on the one hand, I'm thrilled that they did such a good job. On the other, I was surprised it was in Sherwood. So I'm, I'm thrilled that we have people that are willing to go into such dangerous situations and take care of that. So that's all for me.
Thank you. I have a couple things. I got to, you mentioned meeting Aaron Downs, our new superintendent. I actually got to go to his office and spend about an hour with him, kind of talking over our history with the school district and the partnerships we're doing and moving forward, and was very pleased to hear that he's very committed to partnering with the city and partnering with other organizations like the Sherwood Education Foundation, the VPA. There's just the booster clubs. He's a big Rotary. He's a big believer in schools need to partner with community organizations in the city. So that was really great to hear. He comes from Banks, and I'm sorry, Canby.
Wilsonville and
Sorry,
Canby.
he comes from Canby, and he was there. He was there for 3 years and was very well liked down there. So I've heard a lot of good things about him. So I'm super encouraged that we got another great superintendent starting. We had Senator Merkley hosted a town hall here in Sherwood. I think it was last week. And he, if you don't know, he does a town hall every year in every county. So this year for Washington County, he did it here, and I got to MC that, so that was kind of fun. And we had a pretty good turnout at the middle school for that. And I wanted to pass along, Chief, that the Merkley staff was over the moon impressed with the Sherwood Police Department and the effort they put into making sure that that was a safe event. I mean, I didn't even ask. They came and told me. So that says a lot about your team and the work they put into that. So if you could pass that along, that would be great. We also had, in other news, we had our first music festival a couple weeks ago in the parks, and it's still at Olson Park, hosted by actually a Tiger business hosted it. And for anyone who didn't get to go, it was a fun event, and I'm hoping they'll come back next year and do that again. And let's see, what else do I got? And then Keith mentioned the If I Was a Mayor contest, so thank you for covering for me at the OMA. I was here at the Robin Hood Festival because I had duties here for that, so I wasn't able to go to the OMA. But I did want to just do a shout out for anyone listening about the If I Was a Mayor contest. We'll be doing that again this year. You'll probably see stuff coming out in the fall for that. We select a local winner at the grade school, middle school, and high school level every year, and then those names get submitted at the state level. And this year we're expanding it a little bit, and we want to get the kids more involved, if they win, more involved in some of the things going on in the city, like inviting them to be on our floats and the parades and get to throw candy out into the crowd and come help light the Christmas tree this December and other events like that. So it's a fun thing, and I was just super stoked that we won the statewide contest this year. That was really cool.
And she gave the best speech at the Oregon Mayor's Conference. Off the cuff, awesome.
Just the fact that, I mean, she's, I think, a 5th grader or 6th grader, and could get up in front of all these mayors from around the state and give a speech is amazing. It just says a lot.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it says a lot. And I think I'll end it with that. I did want to ask if Sebastian had anything for us tonight.
Mayor, I do have some bad news from the Oregon Supreme Court. I thought I would just say briefly, the city's appeal of the imposition of climate-friendly, equitable communities was denied, and that was the conclusion of our appeal.
Yeah, not great news. And for anyone listening, I want to be we're not against climate issues and taking care of our environment. That was more about some of the preemption they were doing on local control as part of that ruling and process. Yeah, so just to be clear when people hear that. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, we will adjourn this meeting. We'll be going into executive session.